This program is made possible by American Senior Benefits Wichita is all about your peace of mind. We specialize in asset protecting, safeguarding your health, planning your estate, and preserving your freedom of choice. We're here to work through all of this with you. American Senior Benefits Wichita proudly supports PBS Kansas. The Candle Club, a place where friends, food, and music come together. Currently, we offer live entertainment every night except Sundays. Enjoy our delicious specialty appetizers and the Candle Club Signature Prime Rib. More about upcoming events at candleclubwichita.com. Home Health and Hospice of Kansas is a locally owned and community-based provider. We offer quality health care to our patients and families, complete with love, warmth, and compassion. We'll take care of all of the details for you. More information at kansashomehealth.com. Welcome to Cedric Plaza Retirement Community. Our living options are designed to suit your specific needs and activities that you're sure to love. We believe you'll be able to see yourself here, enjoying time with friends and family. For more information, cedricplaza.org.
Welcome to Empowering Seniors. I'm your host, Catherine Ambrose. The purpose of our show is to educate, equip, and empower seniors and their loved ones on all different types of aging topics. Today we're going to talk about the causes that you care about, the charitable organizations that you care about, and how you might help get them funded. Also, we're going to talk about real estate. Sometimes people aren't quite sure what to do with the real estate issues that they have within the family, and so we're going to visit on that as well. Today we have a very special guest that's come in from New Mexico to visit with us, Bruce Geis of Royalty Gift Fund. Bruce, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Catherine.
Bruce, the reason why I wanted to have you on the show is because aging is complicated. What to do with real estate matters and leftover personal property is complicated. How to create a legacy is complicated. And if you're going to give money to a charitable organization, how do you go about deciding how you're going to do that and what all of your options are? And I think you have some answers for our audience. I love the Jewish National Health story. Did I get that name right?
National Jewish Health.
Okay, thank
Denver,
you.
Colorado.
And what do they do?
National Jewish Health is the largest respiratory hospital in America. They have one hospital in Denver, but people from all over the country go to that hospital for their respiratory needs, and they have been in business for so long that they have this great following of people who appreciate what they have done for loved ones in their family. And so they have 25 fundraisers who operate all around the country to help support the foundation that supports the hospital.
So tell us about the lady that might be one of their poster children of donors.
Well, it's a great story. In the work that we do for Realty Gift Fund, which is the nonprofit that we founded, our exclusive mission is to accept charitable gifts of real estate on behalf of the 1.3 million public charities in the country, most of whom will say no to that kind of gift.
Now, why would they say no?
Well, real estate is a complex topic, okay? It's actually a term of art in the fundraising world known as a complex asset. And nonprofits are learning that they need to start accepting complex assets into their fundraising programs, but when it comes to real estate, it is really, really hard for them to accept the risk, come up with the cash to take a gift, hold it until they can sell it, fix it up, which is almost always the case, and they just usually say no to their donors. They say, please go sell the real estate, pay your capital gain taxes. When you're done, leave it, give us the money that's left over. We have tried to change that completely by allowing donors to give their assets instead of their cash, because it greatly empowers and increases the amount of money that can be distributed to the nonprofit world.
And I think this is so interesting for our audience, because even if someone doesn't believe they have a piece of real estate to donate, they might know someone that might, or just being aware, I think, could help more causes get funded.
Well, that's why your question about National Jewish Health is so great. So let me just tell you quickly this story of this woman who lives in Maryland, the fundraiser who works for National Jewish Health, who was connected to this donor, lived in Washington, D.C. And the fundraiser knew that National Jewish Health had a connection with Realty Gift Fund. We are their real estate team. When National Jewish Health has a gift of real estate, they come to us and ask us, as our nonprofit, to process this gift, generate the tax benefits to their donors, and then we fix and sell the properties and we send the money to National Jewish Health. The fundraiser knew that. This woman in Baltimore had been supporting National Jewish Health with a check for $25 a year, 32 years in a row. And what the fundraiser knew was she had a loyal donor, and that was really all she knew. One day, the donor calls her and says, I own a ski cabin in eastern Pennsylvania, Lake Harmony, Pennsylvania. I've owned it for 30 years, bought it for my parents, both of them have passed. I rented it out, the tenant just left. I now have this house. I know it needs work. It's 4 hours away. I don't want to spend the time to fix it up. I don't want to hire a realtor, et cetera, et cetera. If you will take it, I'll just give you the whole darn thing. Here's what the fundraiser said. Perfect response. Linda, thank you for your generous offer. Let me get my real estate team on the phone. And the next day, the fundraiser, the donor, and I were on the phone, and we were having a casual conversation, which is how it goes, exploring the donor's goals. Who is she? What is she trying to accomplish? What are her issues? Why is she trying to give her real estate away? Because we want to facilitate what she needs to get done. We did examine a little bit the real estate. What's the address? What kind of real estate is it? The next day, we had a real estate person in Lake Harmony, Pennsylvania on the phone, and I worked with her to develop information about the property. We knew that we needed to fix something up, so she put a team of contractors and painters and what have you together. And in fact, we had a little house that we knew we could sell, we could fix up to support National Jewish Health. We put this team together. It was a Thursday. The work was supposed to start on a Monday. A buyer shows up through the real estate broker and says, stop, I'll pay you full price if you'll give me a credit for the amount of money that it takes to fix this unit up so I can do it myself. About 30 days later, we closed on that sale and we sent a check to National Jewish Health for $42,000, which came from a woman who had been giving them $25 a year for 32 straight years.
That's a great story because I know she had to be so proud to give such a huge donation to the cause that meant so much to her.
You know, and $42,000, let's be honest with you about this. To some nonprofits, that is a pretty good gift, but not the biggest gift they've ever received. But I'll tell you this, from the work that we have done, taking shopping centers and office buildings and lots of second homes and vacation homes and raw land, we have supported a lot of local, small nonprofits where $5,000 or $10,000 is the largest gift they've ever received in their lifetime. And we distribute a lot of checks that way and in accordance with our donors' wishes. You know, I just closed on a donation and a sale of a small home in California, and I am writing 9 checks to 9 different nonprofits at the instruction, or at the recommendation of my donor.
How do people make decisions on what charities they'd like to support?
You know, it's a very personal thing. Charitable giving, the giving of a large asset, in this case we're talking about real estate, so it can range from $80,000, $90,000 to actually several $1,000,000. In many markets, a typical gift size might be $200,000, $300,000. That's a major decision by a donor, right? It may be a decision that they are making for the first time in their life. They have never really had the capacity to use an asset. Instead of making gifts out of their income bucket, now they're making a gift out of their wealth bucket. But they're in a circumstance where they can actually give this asset away to satisfy some desire to leave a legacy and to make a difference. And so the first decision is, maybe by working with their financial advisor, can we keep all of our liquid assets and pass that down to our children to make it simple, and pull out an asset from our portfolio that actually our kids might not know what to do with when we pass away? It might need work, it might need to pay off a mortgage, there might be some complexity to that asset, and the kids live all over the country. They're now married, they have kids of their own, they all work. And it's just much easier for the owner of the house to say, I'm going to pull this house out of my portfolio and use it as a charitable donation and leave all the simple stuff to my kids.
What's the benefit of a charitable donation of real estate as opposed to selling it outright?
Well, there's a big difference, okay? And many of the gifts that we get, we have taken a primary home, I think, once. But most of the residential properties we take are investment homes or second homes, on which capital gains are owed if the house were to sell for cash. So if you've owned an investment home for 20 years and you've taken depreciation over that 20-year period, and the value of the home has increased in value, there are significant capital gains that are owed if you were to sell the house for cash. If you make a charitable gift of that asset, you do so completely free of all of those taxes. And you get a charitable deduction against your adjusted gross income for a 6-year period based on the appraisal of the home. So it's a double tax benefit for the donor to escape capital gains taxes and get a deduction for its current appraised value. In this market, that's a lot of money. The key element that ties all of our donors together, we've done shopping centers, restaurants, office buildings, raw land, lots of homes. The key element is the convenience. They say to us, if you'll just take this and fix it for us, and sell it and convert it to cash and send this money to the nonprofits that we support, we'll just give it to you. And there are actually hundreds of thousands of people in America who give their real estate all the time.
So a lot of times people maybe don't have heirs, or they just want to direct money a certain direction. And we've experienced adult children that inherit a house that might need a lot of work, and we've had them say we would just as soon donate it if we could. So it's nice to know that there's people out there that can help facilitate something like that.
Well, and
take the headache away.
And it's a discussion actually that the parents should have with their kids or their financial advisor a little earlier in the process, and become educated that this is an option for them. I deal with people who are leading with charitable intent. This is not a tax dodge. The tax rules that govern charitable giving have been in place since 1917. We didn't invent this. Having that discussion early on allows the family to come together over the charitable causes that suddenly are an option for the whole family. This is, mom and dad have worked really hard. We all do something else. I don't really know what dad does. I know what dad does, but I don't know the details of what he does. And sometimes dad is a real estate investor. and the kids are super smart and they do what they do and they have kids of their own and they're super busy, but they're not in the real estate world. Mm-hmm. So it's somewhat appreciated by the kids to support their parents in their charitable causes and say to the parents, the lake house that we don't go to anymore because we're all so busy, please use that as your charitable asset to satisfy the legacy of your life. And many, many kids really do support that.
What a wonderful thing for a family to do, because you do become attached to where you vacation together. And I know people in Kansas, they may have family cabins in Colorado mountains, or they might have a cabin in Table Rock, and a home that they spent so many decades making memories in that maybe is just sitting there now. To have it go to a charitable purpose, I think that's really cool.
You know, I have kids. I have 3 kids. Two of them are married. And it is interesting what happens. The habits of my children, when they were growing up, where we went and built memories and what have you, are now merged with the habits of the people that they marry, and whose, memories are sustained and whose sort of drop away. Depends on a tremendous number of factors. But the real point that you're making is here's a place that means a lot to them. And it is time, actually, to unleash it. Because the kids don't go there anymore, and the parents are perhaps at an age where they can't afford to spend time there anymore, and it has been worn down a little bit. And it's time to make that decision what to do with it. Well, what a great option to take all of those memories that you just talked about and convert it into a charitable asset that might be used to create a fund from which the whole family can participate year after year and say, from this fund, we're going to write a check here and a check there and support the local causes that means so much to Wichita, right? Where we grew up and we have lived and our parents have lived all of their lives.
Yeah. So a piece of land in Branson or a home in Shell Knob, Missouri could actually be utilized to support a local charity and just make all the difference in the world for.
It's so common for a donor who wants to support a local charity, has an asset that's located 4 hours away or 4 hours on a plane away. It might be the home in Colorado. It might be in Branson. It might be in Florida. It might be that the aging parent, the mother or the father, own a home from where their family grew up, back in Chicago or Wisconsin. And now all of these decisions can come into play if your seniors that you serve so kindly are given the option to consider what to do with their assets.
Kids can be very overwhelmed inheriting a property that they're not familiar with. It's in another city. They don't know what to do, and it can add stress to their life. And so doing something to just simplify an estate is a great thing.
What you've touched on, which is so key to charitable giving, is the emotion that connects a donor to a cause. It's remarkable to me to listen to my donors describe to me in that first phone call we have with them. It's all about them. What causes do you support? What is important to you? And it's remarkable the wide variety of social causes in their community, which are relevant to their community, that they support. Well, you match that emotion, okay, with what you just said. The emotion of inheriting your parents' home once they've passed away, and sitting there in the living room as 3 kids saying, we need to sell this house. We have the furniture, the paintings, the things that are the collections that our parents have put together over the years. What do we keep? How do we divide it up? The emotion of going through that process. I have gone through that process. And turning that emotion into, this home is being used, or this vacation home is being used, or this piece of land that my parents bought and thought they were going to build a second home on, and they've owned it for 20 years, and they never did build the home. But it still has a connection to us, and we can turn it into an emotion that connects us to the causes we support.
Plus, you are protecting the value of the gift. It becomes diminished by the time you go through the selling stage and pay the taxes and extract the cash. So if you can do a direct donation like that, there's a lot more available for the charity.
Let's be clear about this. You make a donation of an asset that is encumbered with taxes. If you were to sell that asset, it is diminished by, as you just said, by the amount of taxes that you have to pay to the federal government, the state government, and other agencies that extract taxes from the sale of an asset. If you make a charitable gift of that asset, all of that is cleared away. And so the bulk of this money is left over to distribute to the charitable world. But then think about it. Then this asset qualifies the donor for a charitable deduction against their income. Well, that actually has cash value to the donor over a period of time. What that means is that the value that's distributed to the nonprofit world, added to the value, the cash value that the donor saves on their taxes, can take a $300,000 home or real estate asset, and it can generate $400,000 of cash benefit to the various entities that have been involved in this transaction. It is a way of inflating the power of the asset. We love what we call this charitable leverage. It is a mathematical formula that is true. It's a statistical fact. And it most often plays into a lot of the charitable donations that we do. And it is, believe me, I've spent 40 years in the real estate business, in the investment world, dealing with attorneys and tenants and investors, and it's a rough and tumble world. You go home at the end of the day kind of bloodied. I don't do that anymore. I live in the charitable world. I accept charitable gifts of real estate. We generate these tax benefits for our donors. They are mostly introduced to us by the nonprofits who have been encouraged to start asking their donors for gifts of real estate because they know they have their real estate team just across the hall from them. We are as close as the phone. And it's a wonderful way to spend the rest of my life in something that I really know how to do, which is real estate.
What a switch that must have been to go from that rough and tumble world of commercial real estate to the charitable giving world. How does that impact you when you go to bed at night?
Well, it is actually, we got into this topic, the four of us who created Realty Gift Fund, based on this statistical disconnect that I referred to earlier 20 years ago. That thought, we only created Realty Gift Fund 4 years ago. And for 16 years, that thought germinated in my mind. And I remembered how happy I was when I thought, here is a really great contribution that I can make from the experiences that I have had as a real estate person. I have written checks to nonprofits that brought tears to the eyes of the people who ran those nonprofits. I remember a young woman who graduated with an engineering degree from Princeton University. She moved to Denver. She formed a nonprofit that helps young people who had not graduated from high school. She sends them through a GED program in the morning, and she makes them work in the afternoon. It's an 8-hour day for these 20 kids every year who go through this program. At the end of a year, this woman, who has dedicated herself to an engineering degree at Princeton, gets 20 kids who now have a high school degree and now have job experience. How to get a paycheck, how to dress, how to show up, and it changes the life of those 20 people. The largest gift this woman ever received for her nonprofit was $5,000. We had written her a check for $10,000. It brought tears to her eyes. You know, it kind of brings tears to my eyes too. I feel really great at the end of my day.
What a wonderful story, Bruce, and we're bound to have touched someone else with that story. So when people are considering making a charitable gift, where do they go? What's their first step?
Well, because I said earlier that the best gifts of real estate, a complex asset into the charitable world, come from someone who is leading with charitable intent. If this story strikes a chord with a donor who's watching your program, they should think about the causes that mean the most to them and go to that nonprofit. This is about their connection to a cause that really matters to them. You know, people love, when someone loves a nonprofit and reads a story about something great that happened, whether it was a scholarship to some underprivileged person or to a handicapped person, or someone who's received some medical benefit from a nonprofit through the contribution of funds from the community. Those stories unite the communities together. We need that more than ever right now, right? And the nonprofit world has this special, magical way of uniting communities across all ages and all races and all everything.
Thank you so much for what you do and for coming here to share your story and to educate people on what's possible with their assets. We've probably just skimmed along the top of this topic, so thank you for getting us started. And if you'd like to know more about charitable giving or any of the topics that we cover on the show, please reach out to us at the station, 316-686-4500 or empoweringseniors@kpts.org. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Catherine Ambrose.
This program is made possible by American Senior Benefits Wichita is all about your peace of mind. We specialize in asset protecting, safeguarding your health, planning your estate, and preserving your freedom of choice. We're here to work through all of this with you. American Senior Benefits Wichita proudly supports PBS Kansas. The Candle Club, a place where friends, food, and music come together. Currently, we offer live entertainment every night except Sundays. Enjoy our delicious specialty appetizers and the Candle Club Signature Prime Rib. More about upcoming events at candleclubwichita.com. Home Health and Hospice of Kansas is a locally owned and community-based provider. We offer quality health care to our patients and families, complete with love, warmth, and compassion. We'll take care of all of the details for you. More information at kansashomehealth.com. Welcome to Cedric Plaza Retirement Community. Our living options are designed to suit your specific needs and activities that you're sure to love. We believe you'll be able to see yourself here, enjoying time with friends and family. For more information, cedricplaza.org.